airplane mode now because I can't get your text unless they're via.
Happy Halloween!
Are we live? Oh,
We're
it is
live.
Halloween. It is Halloween.
I know.
What am I? I'm a Bill's Mafia member.
Is that what you're going out as tonight?
Jump on. Yeah, I can run around work and just jump and break tables, then mock all the Seahawks fans at work. That'd be actually fun. I would enjoy
Are
that.
you and the family dressing up?
Last year I was Donald Duck, and then Chris was Daisy.
Careful with that D word. I thought you were going to say something else.
Donald. I don't think I'm anything this year. I might put on a cape, be Flash or something with a little mask. I don't know. What about you?
We're going Inside Out too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What emotion are you?
I'm going to be anger.
Ooh, appropriate.
Theo sadness.
Oh.
Jen will probably be disgust.
Ooh.
And then after tonight's game, we'll invite Aaron Rodgers. He'll be anxiety. Wow. Hello and welcome to Big Ben and K-Win on nofilter.net and YouTube. More of an audio podcast person? Don't worry, we got you covered. Download, listen, subscribe, and 5 stars anywhere you get your podcast. And if you're watching the show live or on demand, make sure you drop your comments below. I'm K-Win. He's Big Ben. We're going to talk about NFL Week 9, college football Week 10, Halloween, and much, much more. Where do you want to start?
Contenders and pretenders.
For college football?
Yeah. Are you a contender or are you a pretender? I mean, it's I think the top 25 is rounded out. The Cougs entered the top 25, which I'm proud of as an independent or pseudo member of the Mountain West or part of the Pac-2, no matter what you call them. But I think this week is contenders versus pretenders. Okay. Like one more loss amongst any of those teams, you probably find yourself out. You got to win out. You got to think, unless you're maybe Oregon, and maybe another couple teams. You got to win out from here in order to make the college football playoff. So it's contenders and pretenders in the thick of conference slates too.
Yeah. So I sent you a text from our intern today. I don't know why he didn't text you. Maybe he likes me better.
Yep.
But as of today, there's roughly 25. That's right, Big Ben. 25 teams alive in this college football playoff race. If you think back in years past, if you lost early, you were maybe out. If you lost twice, you're definitely out. Now we have 2 lost teams that will make the playoffs. I think we have 7 from the SEC, 4 from the Big 10, 4 from the Big 12, 4 from the ACC. We've got independent Notre Dame, and then we've got is Washington State?
Boise State, Army.
The other 5?
Army, Navy, Tulane, and Washington State. Yeah, the other 5, let's call them. The group of 5. The group of 5 contenders, we're going to call them.
I love just seeing this, and Army and Navy are both in consideration of making the college football playoff. That is great.
That is great, although Navy got boat raced by Notre Dame this past weekend. But yeah, there's still hope, right? There's still hope in every one of those teams. I like your Pitt team. I'm going to give you some credit here. I was at a pizza party this past, what was that, Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
Previously, and Pitt looked good. I mean, the game was over at halftime, 35-0. Pat Narduzzi, I believe, is still coaching out there.
Yeah.
They looked really, really good. Don't sleep on the ACC. I think we're seeing a little bit because Clemson stumbled early on, but still hasn't lost since then. And then you got Miami that's playing phenomenal with probably the best quarterback in college football. And I think if those teams continue to win, like these fringe teams in the ACC or Big 12, say like take a Colorado. If Colorado wins out, and you're the committee, you're weighing an SEC team against Colorado, and you want eyes on the game.
And Travis Hunter playing both ways. He's going to get invited to New York. That's ratings. Coach Prime is ratings.
Yep. You got 2 top 5 NFL draft picks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you got to start looking at. From here, people are playing out theories. They're playing out, projections. And that's the funnest part of it. It's like if this team wins, then this team in. And for a team like the Cougs, and I want your take on the Big Ten as a total after this, but for a team like the Cougs, you got to win out and you got to win and it's not just you got to win out, but you got to win like you're pedal to the metal through the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like you got to put up points because it's point differential. It's comparisons of who you played, common opponents, and so forth. But the Big Ten, I don't know if it looks as intriguing in terms of putting teams in. Would you like to watch Indiana play in the college football playoff?
I mean, I don't know enough about Indiana, but no.
Okay. How about we do this in terms of, I want to do this. Big 12, ACC, Big 10, and SEC. Give me you're the college football playoff committee. Give me level of excitement, sexiness, like common records, who wins out.
Rank I mean, SEC is all the buzz, all the hype, all the best teams, all the programs, all the alumni. I mean, we've said it before. I said 5 teams. You said 6. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be either 5 or 6. Big 10, now that I'm looking at this in real time, early in the year I said 4. I mean, I'm saying 2.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. And those are head-to-head matchups coming up, too.
Yeah, you got Ohio State versus Penn State. Ohio State lost to Oregon, but then Ohio State did not look good against Nebraska.
No.
They've got a leaky offensive line. They could lose to Penn State in Happy Valley. And then Ohio State plays Indiana. They could beat Indiana. I think the Big Ten only gets 2. I think it's Oregon because they've got a pretty easy schedule. They play Michigan this weekend, but it's not the same Michigan. I think Oregon automatically goes, and then we'll see. But why this is so interesting is now if you win your conference championship, it's an automatic berth. It's kind of like March Madness in college basketball. So Ole Miss at 2 losses, if somehow they can keep winning and get to that championship game and win, they're in.
Yeah, you're right. The playoff committee. We need Joe Lunardi on the line or whatever.
We do.
Joey Brackett's doing what he does for football or college basketball for football. I believe that someone talked about this, and I thought it was interesting. Gal talked about kind of how this plays out. In some teams, like in the SEC, you may not want to play in that conference championship game if you believe you're already above the line, because that additional loss may bring you below. And how do you justify that if you're going to put the team that finished 3rd into the college football playoff, but then you have a 3-loss SEC team that may not make it? Like, there's so many. I mean,
but if you get to the college championship game conference championship game and you win, you get a bye.
Right.
So if you get there, you got to win. If you lose,
right, where are you at then? You know, like it's interesting because there are so many teams. And then I think.
So you're saying like if you don't go, you might get a better rating than someone who goes and loses.
Exactly.
It has to play a tough road game week 1 of the college football playoff as an at-large team.
Yes, we always see this too down the stretch of, like, say an NC. If you're above the line in your college basketball team, listen, the March Madness is a grind, right? Yeah. Same could be said for what's going to take place in college football. There's going to be a lot of games played in a lot shorter amount of time. It's towards the end of the season. Like, hey, if I know I'm in, I might not want to grind my team in a conference. Or what you might see is, these conference championships might not be the most expansive playbooks. You might not put most players out there. If you already know you're in, last thing you want to do is get hurt and go in a college football playoff championship game with guys sidelined.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot more theories around this, in my opinion. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of gamesmanship, right? Because someone's got to play the Big 12 winner, right?
Yep.
Someone's got to play probably Notre Dame. It will be interesting to see like how crowded like one end of the bracket is with SEC teams, and the other end of the bracket, like you've got to go to Provo or maybe like Des Moines, Iowa to play in a second round game.
I think at some point the college football committee is not going to be a committee. It's going to be an algorithm. Like you're going to need to normalize the teams. Like you can't have any bias in any one of
Just throw it into GPT or Gemini.
So yeah, exactly. Just throw them like based on these teams who should come and boom here, because that effectively then is an unbiased. Well, there might be some bias in and around, like the computer might be built by some company in Texas, therefore Texas goes. But that I don't think like we always get angst from like an NCAA basketball committee, one or two teams. Again, they could have that same determination, like a Power Five school should be in, but based on geography and eyeballs that are going to be attracted to these games, may not make it. Right?
You know,
I don't know. How big is the committee?
I
Why aren't
don't
we on the
know.
committee?
We should be.
I mean, I feel like we should be.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty unbiased, I think. Probably not, but
No, the Cougs would definitely get in.
and then there's uniforms and the Cougs would get in. Who's got the best uniform matchup? Like there's so many things going on. What are the big games this week?
3 big games. So we got Ohio State playing Penn State in Happy Valley. Last weekend we called it College Station, but it's Happy Valley. We've got SMU playing Pitt, and we
Ooh.
have a big Mountain West game. We've got San Diego State at Boise.
Wow. Okay, so let's work backwards. San Diego State at Boise. Cougs just beat San Diego State. I don't think that's that big of a matchup. I don't.
But they're one of the better teams in the Mountain West
Yeah.
for Boise State.
Yeah, I could see that. Boise State's all still in the conversation, but I don't think it's a game like it's not impactful to the committee. The committee doesn't care about
Boise
that.
State's got to win.
They do, but it's regardless. Gentry. If they win 52-14, it's okay. Check the box. Cool, they won, like as they should. In some cases, I believe.
I just think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a close game. Must watch, must see TV.
I don't think it's must see TV.
It's Friday night. There's no more World Series.
But but when you don't go from the World Series to watching San Diego State, Boise State.
A Heisman finalist is playing on a Friday night on the Smurf turf.
No, I get it. Jen went to San Diego State, so you'll be watching it. You just want someone to watch it. Okay, that's fair.
All right, then we'll move on to Pitt. We've got Pitt. My Pitt Panthers are playing SMU in Texas.
Oof.
And here's what's interesting. There is a scenario where SMU, Clemson, and Miami are all undefeated, all tied for first place.
Yep.
And then the ACC's got to figure out which two teams go to the conference championship. That's easy. It's Clemson and Miami. And then there's another scenario. I think if Clemson beats Miami and that's Miami's only loss, I think the ACC could get two teams in the college football playoff. I think that's the only scenario.
Based on the deep pockets of SMU, I wouldn't. It could be three teams. There could be a theory that they buy their way into the college football playoff. SMU doesn't play Miami or Clemson. You're right. And so this is their biggest game of the year, effectively. So if you're SMU, I mean, this is the first time they're playing a big game, probably the biggest game in a couple decades for SMU in terms of relevance to being relevant or being talked about in for college. I mean, SMU has always been thought of as the original pay to play type, or play to, give me that right.
Pay to play.
Pay to play.
When I think of college football, the death penalty.
Yes, it's SMU, right?
Yeah.
Now it's legal, so SMU should benefit greatly, but we'll see.
They've been doing NIL for years.
They have. They're the initial NIL people. They just didn't talk about it. I see Pitt still winning that game on the road.
Yeah. I see Pitt winning. Pat Narduzzi, his team will scrap it out, fight it out. They take on his personality. Eli Holstein, transfer from Bama. Earlier, he played great. The last two games, he's been hurt, so he hasn't played as well. But I think Pitt wins that. But does the ACC get two teams, Big?
I do. I think so. I think it's appropriate representation, especially if Clemson.
You know what that was? That was Washington State's bubble bursting.
Yeah, it could be. Right. Each time I say like one of these big four, Power Four teams should get in. But I do believe, especially if they do beat Miami. I think they want Cam Ward. They want a Heisman finalist out there playing. Yeah. And then Miami is a pretty good draw throughout. But yeah, if Pitt loses, the ACC is only getting two. There's no feasibility that I think they get three. just with SMU not playing, unless SMU goes in and wins.
But Miami and Clemson have to win out to get
E-
to the conference championship. If Miami or Clemson stumbles in the next 3 weeks, ACC
Yeah,
only gets one.
fair. I agree with that. Give me the Penn State game again. God, Penn
Penn,
State's quietly just
they're
always
playing the
there.
Buckeyes in Happy Valley. Penn State has a great defense, a top 15 defense against the run. They get to the quarterback. So I think it's going to come down to Will Howard making plays. And Ohio State, this $20 million team, they're showing that they've got some holes
They do.
in the offensive line. They can't run the ball. I think it's going to be a close game. But James Franklin doesn't have a track record of success against top 5 teams in a big-time college environment. I hate the Buckeyes, but I have to go with the
God,
Buckeyes in this
this game is going to be watched by middle country, all eyes. But like it's just tough to watch these games because it's going to be pound. And Will Howard has just not looked like that Nebraska game. Nebraska's good. They fought. I think that was. But Will Howard, a lot of these teams miss in the portal. Like
Yeah.
the ESPN came out with an article like where are issues within these top programs, and Ohio State just missed. They don't have, and then they don't have the Marvin
There's a
Harrison.
reason why these players are leaving other programs.
Exactly. It's not as though like they're not fitting. It's not as though they're like, oh, we don't run this type of offense, so the guy doesn't make sense. Because any guy that is an athlete, they're going to find a spot for him in a place. And then Ohio State, I think, doesn't have the wide receiver corps to make up for the inefficiency of Will Howard. I don't think, usually you can get away. We've seen it with Colorado. Colorado's Colorado because of Travis Howard and Shedeur Sanders. Like Ohio State doesn't have, they have a good defense, but if the defensive is on the field so much because of turnovers by Will Howard or the inability to get, 3 yards on a 3rd and 2, like they're not going to play well. That could be their demise in Penn State is they're getting the defense out the field.
Yeah. Who are you going with?
Um, it's in Happy Valley. I think that's the difference.
It's a
Home games are
whiteout.
back. Is it? They're doing back-to-back whiteouts?
I thought every game was a whiteout.
Is it? Oh, well. I have buddies going from McGarvey's going to the
Really?
UW game because it's a whiteout. If they do whiteouts every week, I don't think they do.
I mean, I don't know. We need to check it out. Bring
We
on
do.
Brenham McGarvey on the show.
We will. We will. All right. You want to get to the NFL?
Yeah. Niners, Steelers, bye week.
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey is going to practice next week on track for week 10.
Ooh, I think that benefits the Niners going to be in a better spot considering all the injuries because there's still line of sight to winning the NFC West.
Yeah.
Easily too. You win 3 straight in the NFC West, you're in pole position pretty quickly.
And they're going to get some help this Sunday. Steelers versus Seahawks versus Rams.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
We don't have an identity. The Hawks don't have an identity. We don't know who we are, and that's the transition to a new coach, new offensive coordinator, and there's just frustration around it. You look good the first 3 weeks against feeble teams, and then you can't figure it out. The Bills did what a good football team does. Comes in, boat races you. They've seen you for 7 weeks. They got you figured out, Mr. Grubb. And that's kind of who I think we're more of who we saw last week, where we're a team that if you have enough time to prepare for us, you probably have a really good idea of what we're going to do. And Gino leads the league in passing, but that's just a product of the offense we're running. I don't know. We don't have an identity. We're not tough. We're not mean. We're soft. We're soft. We're soft.
I would like to see more balance in the Seahawks offense.
Yeah.
During the Pete Carroll days, it was a lot of run. That's when the whole let rest cook thing. And now I feel like it's all pass with Gino. He's leading the league in passing, but you've got Kenneth Walker. You've got Zach Charbonnet. Like, let's do a little yin to the yang. Let's balance it out. I think they have a better chance to win if they're running the ball and they're pounding the ball. I would like to see more consistency in their run game.
I agree with you. How do you feel about the Niners going in the bye week? Like, what's
Great.
what's the magic ball? Great. People are.
Yeah.
Will you get how long is Ayuk out? Can I do an injury
He's
report on
he's
the Niners? This might be a little while.
he's out all year. He's
All year,
done.
Denzo. Debo,
He's questionable,
he's
so
always questionable.
he always is. But that week off will help him
McCaffrey,
on track to play Week 10.
Purdy's playing well this year.
Yeah.
I would say Purdy's outside of that one game where he had 3 interceptions. He's played pretty well.
PFF has him ranked the number 5 quarterback in the NFL.
I mean, I think he's played up to that standard.
Dre Greenlaw, we might see him back in a couple weeks. Ricky Parasol played last week. He's getting into the flow of the offense. They're missing a lot of pieces, but they'll get a lot back coming in Week 10. And I think that they have the NFC West title in front of them. I think it's theirs to lose. But the NFC, I mean, it's going through Detroit. It's probably going through Green Bay. And if Nick Sirianni doesn't mess things up, it might go through Philly.
Yeah.
I think those are the 3 best teams right now that I see are Green Bay, Detroit, and Philly, with Detroit being the class of the league right now. And remember how the Niners used to beat up everyone and just run the football? Jared Goff threw the ball like 12 times last week. Amon St. Brown had 2 catches. I'm like, what's going on? They put up 52 points.
It's like a video game with the Lions.
Yeah.
Like, they have so many pieces. Jameson Williams is suspended for gosh knows what, but they still have enough pieces in the background, like Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery. When they extended Montgomery, people kind of scratched their head, like, what? But it works.
Yeah.
Like, it works for them. Like, Thunder and Lightning. You got Thunder with Montgomery and then Lightning with Gibbs. Gibbs he had a 75-yard scamper for a touchdown last week. Goff spread it around to everyone. Mm-hmm. He didn't care about your fantasy teams. He gave everyone love. But
Sam Laporta's playing better?
I know, and he's been non-existent throughout the year. I mean, you're right. The Lions just, in terms of, I think they're the only team in the league that could come out with a healthy Ayuk and say, we have more pieces than San Francisco. All right, I got some contender and pretender games for you.
Let's hear it.
All right. This is a great matchup. I like this matchup. Broncos at 5-3 going in to Baltimore to play the Ravens.
I can't believe the Broncos are 5-3. I looked at it this morning and I refreshed my computer screen like twice, but they are 5-3. Bo Nix is playing better. He's got better each and every week. I still think the Ravens, despite the record, are the best team in the AFC. So I think the Ravens are going to find a way to win this game. The Ravens got better. They just got Dionte Johnson.
Yeah.
So they're already the number 1 offense in the NFL with Derrick Henry, maybe 3-time MVP. Remember how good Johnson was in Pittsburgh? You get him around that core in Baltimore. I think the Ravens will win that game and beat the Chiefs this time.
Listen, let's be honest. There's a reason Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews are around is because they're both 6'5" and big. Like, that creates something for Lamar. He's a tall player too. You can throw him, go up and get it. Dionte Johnson, I think, is 6'5" as well. Like, Zay Flowers is nice. You can run around, but you got to compliment Dionte. I think that's going to be big. And he's played well when he's had a good quarterback in Carolina. All right. So you got Baltimore winning that game. Here's another odd contender and pretender. Bears at the Cardinals. Bears are still above 500. And then the Cardinals are leading the NFC West.
Yeah. Both things can be true at this point in the season. I'm going with the Cardinals here. Kyler needs to get more consistent with Marvin Harrison Jr. They got Trey McBride. They got James Conner. Just when you think James Conner's done, he keeps pounding the ball, scoring touchdowns, having the Arizona team control the offense. Yeah, I'll go Cardinals here.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Bears play really well at home. That defense shows up at home, other than the Hail Mary.
Pointing at the fans and not getting into
that's
coverage.
Karma. If anyone wants an example of karma, if you're in a university or collegiate setting, say, we want to watch a video on karma. It is that.
Yeah.
Here's the next one that I want to discuss. It's in Lambeau. I don't think there's been a better game that will happen this NFL season other than this one. If this was on Turkey Day, this would be great.
Yeah, it would.
Lions at Packers. It's on Fox. I mean, the Green Bay's defense has been the most consistent in the NFL.
Yeah.
They're good. And I think this isn't on turf. Remember when you used to have the Rams and they'd go play somewhere else other than in St. Louis, where it was the greatest show on turf, or LA, and they'd be a different team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'll be interesting to see what the Lions do. They might water the field a little more. There's some things you can do in Lambeau. Who do you got?
Jordan Love, I think he's questionable. I don't know if he's practiced this week. He said it's no problem. Give me the Packers. I agree with you. The Lions are great, but get them out of that turf. Get them in Lambeau. Get them against Matt LaFleur. Get them against that Green Bay defense. I'm going Green Bay here.
This is going to be a try. You're going to see Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs may get the ball 35 times this game. And
they might put in Malik Willis and have him run too.
Agreed. Just pound the ball. Keep the defense on the field. And this is where you're going to struggle mightily. And Adrian Hutchinson is probably just chomping at the bit to get back on the field for a game like this. Because without a guy like that, without pressure you can put on the quarterback or stop the run, I think it's going to be a long day for the Lions defense. It's going to be Josh Jacobs, and I forget the backup rookie.
It's Emmanuel, I think.
Emmanuel, yeah. I mean, it's going to be a slodge, but I'm going to enjoy watching it. Just like everyone's going to be waiting for a big play, or a turn, subsequently a turnover. But one of the best games, I think, in the NFL today.
I agree. Trade deadline less than a week away. I think the Lions have to get someone on the edge. Crosby's not getting traded.
No.
Myles Garrett isn't getting traded, but possibly Javon Clowney, ex-Seahawk.
Yeah.
I like that move there. And then for my Chargers, who are still in the hunt, they got to get a wide receiver. I'm saying either reunited with Mike Williams or go get Adam Thielen. But pair him with Ladd McConkey. The Chargers need some help. They need to get a wide receiver. There's none left. After
I don't
Cooper,
think
Adams,
there was
Hopkins.
adequate help. Yeah, I mean, I think, sure, go get Mike Williams just in the
What is that for, like a 9th rounder? We will give you Mr. Irrelevant in next year's draft in return for Mike Williams.
Mike Williams is the enigma of the NFL in the receiving corps. Yeah, maybe you do that. Maybe you give Herbert struggled this year, and it's simply because he doesn't have Keenan Allen. Mike Williams was a nice piece for a while there for him. But Harbaugh's it's almost like he's at Michigan again. Remember Michigan just win weird, and you'd be like, how is this team any good? I don't get it. But he's done it. And he's in it.
For now.
Ladd McConkey, 2 touchdowns last weekend.
Looks good. He needs some help. Josh Palmer, Johnson, they look like other guys and not the guy. They need some help in the draft and in free agency.
And they also if you remember Gerald Everett last year for him, he was a nice piece. Like, they don't have a tight end that they can go to. They're missing that. So, but the Chargers they're the other team at SoFi, right? They're not the team, but they're
Chargers
around.
And Broncos, how are they in the hunt?
No idea.
AFC is top heavy. Everyone else is.
The Chiefs are 7-0. You look at that, you're like, what? What's going on here? But
Texans are beat up.
Stephon Diggs is down.
Can anyone beat the Chiefs?
Yeah, a lot of teams can beat the Chiefs. I think a lot of teams can beat the Chiefs. I think it's the interesting part is we haven't seen the Chiefs in full tilt.
Yeah.
Everyone's been out at some point. Kareem Hunt's their running back, for gosh sakes. Yeah. They've had Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been out. Pacheco's out. Like, Kelsey's doing commercials in and out. We haven't seen the Chiefs, but yet they're 7-0.
I know.
They're scrapping things together. Kind of like we scrap things together on this podcast.
Yeah, so you want to get out of here?
Let's get out of here.
Shout out to a couple shout outs we received on social media. I'm trying to find it. Who is this guy? All right. Last week we asked a very important question. Can Tua lead the Dolphins to the playoffs? And at Trini Mills 2065 said no. And I agree with him.
Well, just short. I like that. His take is simply no. It does not work. And then we got Seth C1010 thinks that 5 SEC teams, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Georgia, Texas, Bama, Tennessee, LSU, and then possibly A&M.
I kind of agree with them.
I kind of agree with them too. Good takes by our fans. Thanks for replying, tweeting, liking us. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts at Big Ben K Win on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple iTunes, Amazon Podcast, wherever you're getting your podcasts. And then follow us, like us, social media, engage with us. It's at Big Ben K Win on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Threads, and the soon-to-be banned.
I don't know if TikTok's going to be banned.
We'll see.
We'll
If
see.
not, we'll be there.
And if you DM us this week and want to be on the show, you can, because Big Ben's going to be in Hawaii. So hit us up if I'm looking for a guest host, a proxy for Big Ben next week.
You might get my aunt, my mom, and a host of college buddies. All right.
I love it's going to be Brooke.
Oh, no, don't open that can of worms.
Boom.